And good evening, South Florida. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on Hot Talk, South Florida's #1 community affair show. Each and every Sunday night at 11, we highlight the achievements and discuss the challenges with you and an engaging panel of guests. And as always, I invite you to have a seat and have a cocktail. And one of my dear friends is on the line, and I am so excited for him right now. You all know him and love him. He will always be legendary for being on the very first Real World and literally solidifying our presence and just a vision of brothers we love on the television. Please welcome. He's done so much work between then and now. And I want to tell you so bad, but I'll let him tell you. Please welcome Kevin Powell to Hot Talk. How are you, sir?
Great. Thank you so much for having me, Jill. I really, really appreciate you, and much love to you as always.
Oh, my dear. So listen, Kevin, I am beaming probably like your mom at this point. I am just so happy for you. You know, you meet so many people along the way in this industry, you know, and you are one of those people in my life that is a steady, there's a level of just consistency. I am who I am, and you get in where you fit in my space. And you never waver, and I love that about you. And now having grocery shopping with my mom, I know where you get it from. So let's go back to I love the title. How did you come to this book and the title?
Well, you know, it's an album, as you know, that just got nominated for the Grammy for best spoken word poetry album. Yeah, but it's I've done 16 books, and my most recent poetry book is the same title. I mean, my mom is good now. I'm going to see her next week for the holiday break, and but she was sick a few years ago, and I am an only child raised by a single mother. Shout out to single mothers out there always,
Amen.
And mothers in general, period. Yep. You know, and mother figures. I had to take her to grocery shopping, you know, and I started just doing social media posts. I wasn't even thinking about anything other than, you know, this is very hard for me, and God, please don't take my mom from me. I'm not ready to lose my mother. This is just a lot. Thank God she recovered, but I had to literally take her grocery shopping, and it was humorous experiences, you know, her telling me to watch her pocketbook when she would walk away from the cart like I was still 7 years old, and you know what I'm saying, and I would try to help her think about her diet a little bit. Boy, don't tell me what to eat. I'm going to eat what I want to eat. I want all this frozen food, and that's what it's going to be. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And literally, I did not know. Literally, as I was posting about these adventures with my mother, I just started saying grocery shopping with my mother this week. People are like, that's my mom, or, you know, don't appreciate your mom because I don't have my mom anymore. It really hit a nerve. And that led to me writing a whole poetry book with that title. And it came out last December. Mm-hmm. And my spirit has been wanting to literally do, Jill, a poetry with music, because I come out of the whole tradition of poetry like Nikki Giovanni, Maya Angelou, folks like that, the last poets, you know, the great dub poets out of the West Indies, including Jamaica, and obviously hip-hop. I'm a diehard hip-hop head, so I've always appreciated words, the spoken word with music. And I decided, you know, the first 8 months of this year, we recorded an album. 9 of the 36 poems from the book became an album. I worked with some amazing, you know, up-and-coming, talented producers and beat makers and musicians. And we got nominated for a Grammy, and I'm like in shock.
Right?
You know what I'm saying?
Because, like, was it even in your like psyche, like, oh my God, this is gonna happen? I'm gonna get a Grammy for this. It just seems like, I'm so glad that you were there to meet that moment in time, because it is your time. And the work, I mean, for me, just like you said, for me personally, I lost my mother in January. It was always just me and her. There was nobody. Thank you.
Wow.
It was always just me and her. And
I understand.
when I got your book, it just really resonated. I'm sorry.
I understand so much, Jill. first of all, I love you, and your spirit, the spirit of your mother is with you forever. And
Amen.
the thing that has hit me the most when I put the book out,
Mm-hmm.
Grocery Shopping with My Mother in December, and then the album, is how many people have talked to me about their mothers. Like, I'm talking about Black folks, white folks, Latinx folks, Asian folks, Indigenous folks, older, younger, moms have reached out to me, you know what I mean? And I wrote the poem, the title poem for the book, and it's also the center of the album, almost like a prayer. It's a prayer to God.
It is.
And I got that from The Color Purple, how Celie wrote those letters to God in The Color Purple. That inspired me. My mom is a big fan of Whoopi Goldberg. So she goes and sees every Whoopi Goldberg movie that comes out. And I know, I realized years later my mom wanted to see someone who looked like her on the screen, you know what I mean? And so I talk about this journey with my mom. And so, I understand what you're feeling, because mothers are sacred. Mothers are sacred. Mothers are sacred. And we actually made the song on the album. It's a spiritual, we have, we do Amazing Grace on there. We do Motherless Child. We blend those songs, those classic songs, into it. And I just, I wanted to honor mothers, like your mother, your mother, Jill Tracey, like your mother, you know.
You definitely have, because there is no greater bond. Do you know what I'm saying? That, whether you are with your mother or not, there is nothing greater than that. And, to have so much, I haven't made it. I take pictures of my book because there's like tear stains on every other page. But because the fact that so much of the emotion that I get from you and the book it resonates with so many moments in my life with my mother. And I think that's one of the greatest things about you, and how you can tell your truth, and it resonates universally. Do you know what I'm saying? Anybody who's ever been in that space with their mother, which is, a great number of us, especially if you got some melanin.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying?
God, yes.
There are pages that just make you laugh, and there are pages that just, do the, like, we're on a call. I still, just the thought of, because it took me a minute to pick it up. I swear to you, because it's still really, it's still really fresh. And so much of, so much of my identity is my mother. I look exactly like my mother. I was always with my mother. I never knew my father. And so when I look in the mirror, I see her. And then and I got the title, Grocery Shopping with My Mother. I thought about how many times we would always argue in the grocery store.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
But,
but right. And you would have to acquiesce at the end and be like, okay, fine, whatever. And I just know how well it is resonating with people here. We talked about it on the morning show the other day, and people were calling in saying, well, where is he going to be at the Miami Book Fair? And I was like, but it is in Barnes and Noble, so I need you to go get it. And hopefully he will be to Miami soon. But was there any opportunity? Did they reach out to you for the Miami Book Fair, or was it too close?
I am sure they did. And honestly, the book came out in December of last year. I did 15 cities, including South Florida. I was back with you all in June with the hip hop festival.
Right, for the hip hop, yeah.
And so I had to pull back, because literally I went from the poetry book version of Grocery Shopping with My Mother, as I said, to making the album, and that took 8 months. It took all the way through August to do it, from January to August. And I'm on to the Tupac book now. I'm finishing the Tupac Shakur biography that I've been working on for years. I will definitely be coming to South Florida and all over the country when that comes out in about a year or so. Okay,
I'm going to start working on hosting that now. I said, I'm going to start working on hosting that now. I'm going to get sponsors and everything. Man, look here.
Happen.
You writing, and Tupac is another one of those, there are going to be icons of our era. You are one of them. Yeah. Tupac is definitely one of them. So now, okay, but let me, let's just slide on back to the Grammys. When I got that text from you, I was like, I'm like literally sitting in the middle of the floor like, look at God. he followed. That's the one thing, the inspiration you have been to me as a friend. And, even though we don't talk to each other that often, but your spirit is fearless,
Wow.
and
Wow.
it is so beautiful to watch and to think. I remember the first time that I talked to you, I was like, I wonder if I could be successful and be that fearless. Because, I want to say, as a woman on one hand, and being in the certain types of markets, it's like, okay, you got to get your foot all the way in the door. You got to get a seat. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, you need your own room before you start talking about stuff like that.
Yes.
And there's always this little elf going, well, Kevin didn't. You know what I'm saying? He just barged right in. But do you attribute that to your mom? To that just fearlessness?
God, yes.
Yeah.
My mama, the Virgo that she is no joke. And I mean, think about it. I mean, you're from up north originally, like I am, and you know about the history of our folks migrating into the country from the south to the north, and even our folks who are from the West Indies immigrating from the Caribbean, from the West Indies to Miami, to New York, et cetera. And this black women have had to hold it down for our communities in many ways. And it ain't no joke raising any child, but my mama had a boy, which was me, and I was a wild child, and but she was a fighter. I mean, my mother literally, Jill, has an 8th grade education formally, but she's one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. She's one of the hardest working people I've ever met in my life, and she made things happen. She made miracles happen. I mean, this is a woman who said to me when I was only 3 years old, "You're going to college," and she had never set foot on a college campus, and the only book we ever had in our house was a Bible, but she had a vision for me that I had to. She raised me, don't be lazy, don't live off of women ever as a man, because she was thinking about my daddy and other men that she was encountering. And she instilled in me, what it is, and she also used her voice, because there's no way I went to the best public schools in my hometown of Jersey City, or we were able to get better housing without my mother using her voice. So I got all of that from her, just watching how she moved, because she had to deal with a whole bunch of stuff by herself. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? Maybe it's a Virgo thing. My birthday's August 27th. There you go.
Oh, she's August 28th. Look at that.
That's
crazy.
Okay. Hey.
That's crazy. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. When you said I was raised by Virgo, I was like, oh, there it is. There. Thank you, God.
Oh,
there
yeah.
It is.
Oh, y'all
right
don't play.
There.
Y'all don't play.
Oh my goodness, I love it. So when are you here? Do you have any plans to come?
Well, I'm sure I will get there before the next Miami Book Fair, next year, and for something regarding speaking somewhere, I will let you all know for sure. But I just, I want to encourage folks in South Florida, not just to focus on the book, but the album.
I was about to say. So, but we will see you at the Grammys.
Yes, you will see me at the Grammys, God willing. I will be there. I'm excited.
You're gonna be there.
I just got the email for my tickets. Jill, I've not been to the Grammys in years. I'm like, I'm going as a nominee, which is crazy.
Thank
and you know me as
Kevin
Black folks know that I was a music journalist for years with Bob and other places. And I was the one interviewing artists, and now I get to be an artist nominated for a Grammy. It's bugged out, yo.
Look at God. This is what I'm saying. But that's what I mean, Kevin, about that fearlessness. You know what I'm saying? You have nothing from the time that we were introduced, the world was introduced to you. Was there no point, in your trajectory that, you did not defend yourself, your point of view, what you want, and you believe in it, and you move on it? If I'm leaving this goddamn house, okay, bye.
That's it. It's funny when you reference MTV's The Real World, me being on the very first season of it. I just learned in putting this album together this year, because I was wondering about MTV. I was actually the first poet ever on MTV, literally on any show.
Really?
I did not know that until this year. Yeah.
See?
And so the fact that happened, and then all these years later, I have this Grammy nomination for Best Spoken Word Poetry Album. It's almost like, man, full circle, you know what I'm saying? because that helped to open up. Like MTV started doing poetry videos. Yep. That led to things like Def Poetry Jam on HBO. A whole bunch of other stuff happened. And, I mean, it's humbling. It's humbling. And, you know, I want to shout out to people out there. Never think – I mean, I was blessed like you are. I started very young. I literally got my first check as a writer when I was only 20 years old. I was a kid. I was still in college. And, you know, and I've definitely had ups and downs. Like, you know what I'm saying, Jill. This industry, our world is no joke. But I just want to encourage folks, never give up on what you're passionate about. Keep doing it, even if you have to step away for some points in time, which is I've had to do through the years, you know. But I always said to myself, I want to do poetry with music. I really want to do poetry with music. And to be able to do it and get a Grammy nomination the first time out, and I don't take for granted. I mean,
this is what I'm
first
saying,
time
Kevin.
out, yeah.
Boom, you dropped it in, I mean, come on now. There's no accidents nowhere. It is almost like a reward for being yourself from the door. Yeah,
I appreciate you for saying that. I mean, I don't take, I value it more than anything now because, as you know, especially we're going to be talking about hip hop at 50. One of the conversations that's come out, but I mean, we've lost so many people, Shock G, DMX. I mean, there's so many folks that are not here anymore, and I just don't take it for granted. I need to shout out my brother, Ratcliffe Bailey, the visual artist, the great visual artist out of Atlanta, bringing it back to hip-hop, Jill. The first time I ever saw Ratcliffe was actually in an Arrested Development video with his long dreadlocks drawing on the streets in the Mr. Window video back in the day. Little did I know he and I would be introduced at that time. We'd become very, very close friends. I would collaborate with him. You know, he just passed. You know, he just literally passed last night. He was only 54 years old. May he rest in peace. But, you know, guess what, y'all? South Florida, Miami, the last piece of art that Ratcliffe was working on is going to be at Art Basel and there in Miami in a couple of weeks because he was really determined. He loved y'all. He loved Miami. He loved Art Basel. And I just need to say that to your community there, how much love he had for your city and your community in South Florida. Yeah.
And we will definitely be there. I've got lots of plans for Art Basel, and I will be bringing them to you guys in the next week or so to get your own list together because, you know, everybody does a Basel list, but everybody doesn't have us in mind. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying.
I understand.
So, Kevin, listen, I cannot wait to see you on the Grammy stage. I'm going to just put it up there now. Have you started thinking about what you'll say? Or are you just going to let it go?
I purposely, I said this to my wife the other day. I said, I'm not going to write a speech. Yeah. I'm just going to speak from the heart because I'll probably be up there crying. I'm going to thank my mama and them. Yep. You know, got to thank our mama and them. Got to thank God how we do, But I'm going to be shouting out Maya Angelou, Nikki Giovanni, The Last Poets. I was inspired. This album that I created, the music was inspired by Lauryn Hill, by Kendrick Lamar. I got to shout them out. I got to shout out Stevie Wonder. I got to shout out Nina Simone. These are the kind of things I was listening to as I was transitioning the poems into music. And so the album has, house music. It has reggae. It has R&B. We have classical music on there. We have jazz on there. And those artists, these are some of the artists that I love, that wasn't Prince. Shout out to Prince. My God, I love Prince so much. Shout out folks like that, that just, and then obviously hip hop, just the spirit and energy of hip hop, you know what I mean? And so I ain't got no speech. I just pray. I want to definitely acknowledge my fellow nominees, and I'm just thankful to be in the game. And, Jill, I never really was someone that was trying to win awards or anything like that when I was coming up, but it's like, I'm like, this is a nice feeling to be able to say Grammy-nominated poet. I've gotten messages from all over the world from people from here to Africa like, congratulations. I was like, damn, this is crazy. Yeah. This is crazy. You know what I'm saying? This is crazy. So I'm just grateful to be in the door, you know what I'm saying? And I'm going to go to L.A. in February 4th, the Grammy night, and just enjoy the moment. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, my wife said to me, she's like, yo, there's the Grammys, there's the Oscars, there's the Tonys, the Emmys. That's the big four. You get nominated for one of them joints. That's not a game.
Thank you.
That's not a game.
At all. And your first one, but like I said, Kevin, it is just, it's something about your spirit. Have you heard that Coco Jones, I See You?
Yes.
Okay, yes. That's how when the first time you heard that song, how it just hit you. That's how you are, Kevin. How your entire being. Well, it's just like something about your hands on that pen. We're gonna change that lyric too for you.
Well, I need to shout you out, my sister, because, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the fact that I just guest edited a special issue of a literary magazine out of New York called African Voices. And y'all, audience out there, Jill Tracey supporters, lovers, admirers, she has a great essay in it. And you are in there with Nikki Giovanni, with Sonia Sanchez. You're in there with Malcolm Jamal Warner, Elizabeth Alexander, who was Barack Obama's inauguration poet in 2009, is in it. You in there with a whole bunch of folks. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for writing a great piece, especially from your perspective as a black woman in this wonderful thing we call hip hop. This is a powerful piece. And, man, people are excited about it. It's really, it's 92 pages. People weren't expecting all of this, but we wanted to really show hip hop some love at the end of this 50th anniversary year.
And I have no words. I just thank you. It gives me a level of confidence. You and I have talked about it a lot of times. Sometimes you're in a space where they just don't get you, and you got to keep going. You cannot shape-shift yourself for whatever that space is, especially if it feels like it don't fit. And, and I draw strength from people like you who just keep it going, and it happens. And so the fact that this moment, like this is one of those moments I have been wanting it to happen in my life, and I knew could happen, and for it to be you was just, come on now. I can't, okay, I'm still at work, I can't start crying again, but you see me.
Oh, I do.
And I see you, and there's nothing better than that. Nothing.
Well, I mean, listen to the title of your piece in this issue. It's called Hip Hop at 50, ... Who Will Tell My Story by Jill Tracey. Y'all, if y'all Google, audience out there, Google African Voices, Hip Hop at 50, you'll find the issue. You can get the digital copy or the print copy or get both, because the printed version can be a collector's item. And guess what, Jill Tracey? I just talked to a couple of departments of education in this country, including New York City, which has the biggest public school system in the country. Schools are going to be getting this special issue about hip hop into their classrooms. We're working on that as well as just, regular folks having it. But we see this issue as a teach tool of where hip hop was, what it is, and where it can be. And so just know that folks are going to be teaching your essay at some point, Miss Jill Tracey.
God.
Ain't that something?
Thank you. I thank you for seeing me.
Oh, thank you for seeing me. This is my honor. I'm glad to be here with you, and just thank you for. I honestly, Jill, you weren't the first people I thought about. I called Jill Tracey and asked her, could she write something? That's real talk. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. I ain't trying to gas you up. I'm telling you the truth. I was like, Jill need to be up in here.
Okay.
Jill need to be up in here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Kevin Powell, my dear friend. The book is Grocery Shopping with My Mother, the Grammy-nominated poetry
album. Yep.
Right. Is available. Well, now, wait a minute. Where can you get the album now?
Everywhere.
Amazon?
It's on Apple, Spotify, Tidal. It's everywhere. Amazon, anywhere you get, even like the not well-known streaming platforms. We are on mad streaming platforms. So I want people to get the album with music, all original music on all the streaming platforms.
Okay, that is your task, people, to get the album before the Grammys. So that when he wins and y'all trying to tell everybody who he is, you have real knowledge. Thank you. That's my dog, Kevin Powell. Okay, you need the backstory. Get the book. Get the album. And, Kevin, I can't wait to see you again in South Florida.
Well, we're going to do something big around the Tupac book in about a year. I promise you that. We're going to link up on that one, all right?
Awesome. Thank you, babe. Love to wifey. Tell her it was a pleasure and a joy. And next time she and I are going to go out and drink together. I've got a few lovely places I want to take her to go out and drink. So I love you.
Love you too.
Mad love and blessings. And and to my spirit sister, your mom, my Virgo sister, thank you. Thank you for giving us this devastating masterpiece we call Kevin Powell. Love you, babe.